Welcome back to Pop Culture Theory. I am Saccora. You can find us around the web on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Pop Culture Theory. We are back after a little hiatus there, and we are going to be doing our very first Magic the Gathering spoilers video. I know that there are a lot of channels that spend a lot of time on spoiler season, so I thought I would take a different approach. I've started off by looking at the spoilers and seeing what all has been laid out. I'm pretty sure we have a full section of spoilers that have all been spoiled, and I'm going to cover that section instead of doing them one at a time as they're spoiled. And that means, for our first Dominaria spoilers, we are going to cover the Dominaria Planeswalkers. Currently, 5 Planeswalkers have been released, and I'm pretty sure that will be all the Planeswalkers in the set. Although I could be wrong, they might surprise us with a 6th. However, 5 has been the average amount in most of these sets. So, we have 5 that have been spoiled, and I'm going to jump right in talking about those Planeswalkers, how they will affect Standard, and how they're going to affect the Brawl format that I've been so keen on lately. So let's go ahead and start right off with the Planeswalker deck Planeswalkers. First up, you have Chandra, the Bold Pyromancer. She's available in the Planeswalker deck, and that is the only way you're going to be able to pick her up, and I actually really like her. That +1 ability to add 2 and to deal 2 damage to target player, that's actually really nice in my opinion. The next, a Lightning Bolt on a stick for -3, can't say no to that. I also really like that ultimate ability. Deal 10 damage to target player and every creature or Planeswalker they control. If you don't kill them with that ultimate ability, you're going to set yourself up for the win either way. Now, as far as being playable in Standard, I'm not entirely sure about that. I think that the 6 mana cost is just going to make her a little too slow to see much Standard play. However, I think that you will see her played in a lot of Brawl decks. She is an easy splash onto any Brawl deck running a red. That +1 ability giving you mana and damage is really good in both multiplayer and single player, and the ultimate ability is a real threat in Brawl where it's a lot about building up the big fields right now. I like her. I think I'm going to be throwing her in my own Grixis Brawl deck. Next up, we have Ferry the Timebender. Now, this is your other Planeswalker deck Planeswalker. You have to pick up one of the Planeswalker decks in order to get it. Won't be available in packs. That being said, untap up to 1 target artifact or creature is really nice if you're running something like Azorius or Esper Control. And I really like the -3. You gain 2 life, draw 2 cards. I think it's one of the best abilities on this Planeswalker, and it's going to really help balance out your cards and give you that card advantage. However, the -9 for taking an extra turn, I want to note, is so we start at 5 loyalty counters. This is at -9, which means if you throw this into a Super Friends deck in EDH and you can double the counters right off the bat, you have your extra turn. Alts that you can do right off of doubling the loyalty counters is always something to look out for. I also like that it only takes 2 turns to get there because you have a +2. I don't think it's going to see a lot of play in Standard, but once again, I think that you're going to see playing this in a lot of the different Brawl formats, including I'm going to be using this in my own Azorius Brawl deck that I'm using for multiplayer Brawl. Next up, let's talk about Ferry, the Hero of Dominaria. Now, this is the actual Ferry that you can pull out of the packs. I really like this one as well. The +1 to draw a card, which is giving me my card advantage, is really good, but I love that second part, so I can untap 2 lands at my end step. That means as a control player running Azorius or Esper, I can tap out all my lands, do everything on my turn, and at the end of the turn, still get back enough lands to have that crucial negate or other counterspell ready to go. I'm liking that a lot. Putting the target permanent 3 down from the top on the deck is an okay ability. I'm back and forth on that, but I really like this emblem. It takes a couple turns to ramp up to the emblem, but when you get it, every time you draw a card, you're going to exile a target permanent. I don't think it's going to see too much play in Standard, although between this and Dovin Bond, some kind of Esper or Azorius Super Friends could be maybe a thing. But I think you're going to see a lot of this in Brawl, and I think we have found an include in a lot of Super Friends decks for EDH as well. So, I'm liking that deck a lot, and then you have Jaya Blargh. Now, for Jaya Blargh, she's got a really cool +1 ability. It's going to give you 3 red mana, and you can spend that mana only to use on an instant or sorcery spell. But for a lot of red aggro decks, that's fine. They're going to drop that on a Shock or one of their Abrades, and if we're talking in Modern, Lightning Bolt. I don't know if it's going to see Modern play. I don't know if it'll see too much Standard play, at least until Chandra rotates. But for now, I am liking this card, and I think you might see it in Brawl. The +1 to discard up to 3 cards, then draw that many cards, is always a good feature to have in a red deck because it's going to help get you your card advantage that is otherwise absent in a lot of mono red decks. Finally, that you get an emblem when you may cast an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard, and if you would, you exile it. That is a really cool ability. I think you can see some Brawl decks using that, and more than that, I think you're going to see this card splashed into some Commander EDH decks just for that ability. Getting that emblem is going to be key to some of them. Another card I really like. I'm really loving the Planeswalkers from this set. Now, finally, we have Karn, the Scion of Urza. We were all waiting on the return of Karn, and I'm really excited with what we got. I know some other people were wanting a really powerful Karn like what we've seen before, but I think this is right where I want Karn to be. A +1, a -1, and a -2. Now, the ultimate is nothing to write home about right now. A 0/0 colorless construct that has +1/+1 for each artifact you control. I think that it could become relevant in maybe some Azet blue-red or maybe Dimir blue-black decks. There is some construct decks and artifact decks that could be plausible in the next setting, but I don't know for sure. I do like the +1 -1 though. Revealing the top 2 cards to your opponent, them choosing one, you exiling the other, and if you liked that card, you get it back next turn with your -1. That's pure hand advantage all day. And because it's a colorless card, I think you might see this splashed into some green and red decks where they're going to want that kind of hand advantage. This, out of all the Planeswalkers, might be the one that sees the most standard play. I like it for Brawl too, but I think I'm liking it more from standard, at least from right now. Now, let's talk for a moment about Firesong and Sunspeaker. This is my giveaway for Magic this month. I'm going to be running this giveaway all the way up until pre-release when I get my packs and I get my 2 copies of these cards. I'm getting 2 of them, 1 for myself and 1 to give away. To get in on that giveaway, all you need to do is like the channel and go ahead and subscribe to it. So if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and then leave me a comment on this video. Let me know what you want to see me do in the future, what other kind of things you would like to see me doing. If you like these videos, if you want more deck techs, if you want me to focus on Brawl, if you want me to focus on Standard, any of those things. When you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below, you get 1 entry in. Go check out my other Brawl videos when I first announced Firesong and Sunspeaker giveaway. You can like those and comment on those for extra entries in. I'm going to give away 1 copy of this exclusive Buy a Box card to someone. Your other chance to get this is going to be to go to a local game store that's part of the WPN and buy a box. That's your only way of getting it. It's not going to be pulled in packs. Now, I'm going to be giving away my 1 copy, and I have a couple other giveaways that I'm going to be announcing, but I am going to be slowing down on this channel a little. So I'm Saccora with Pop Culture Theory. You guys can find me on patreon.com/Saccora, and that's going to be the last time that I mention my Patreon for a while. Maybe a month, maybe 3 months, might be a year until I mention it here again. I'm still going to have it up and running if you guys want to go toss me $1 a month. I'm going to be putting a lot of it back into this channel, but I have a couple other projects that I'm going to focus on with the Patreon for a little bit, including a couple for this channel. I have a video project I'm doing right now that I'm going to be posting. It's a series of videos, and I hope to get the first one up here pretty soon. However, I've got some other projects, some of my writing projects, and other things that I'm going to be putting over on the Patreon and kind of putting some focus there. I also know not all of you like me plugging Patreon at the end of some of my videos, so I might still write it out like I did here, but I'm going to stop talking about it in the length that I have been. I'm going to stop pitching it to you all for a while, maybe for a month, maybe 3 months, maybe a year until I return back to really trying to push that on here again, if I do at all. That being said, I am Saccora with Pop Culture Theory, and I will catch you all next time.